So this talk is for parents, and I created the title, Creating More Peace and Kindness at Home while caring for yourself as you share values with your children. Because there's so many impacts on the life of parents and children right now. If we look at the pandemic alone, we've seen a huge increase in mental health problems and domestic problems. It's of special concern for the children as they face isolation. Many of them don't get to go to school all the time, although some of them are returning. And so it's a perfect time to give the talk because it's the holiday season. And in the holiday season, we focus on hope, peace, love, and joy. So just imagine.
Έχεις στην ανεμαρία τώρα είναι η παρουσίαση. Πού βρίσκονται αυτές οι κοπέλες?
So just imagine the world. Everyone had this.
Κατάλαβα, έλεγα.
Hope, peace, love, and joy, or peace and kindness. What would the world be like? Asking this sort of question is important to me. And I often ask people to imagine a positive person in their life. And if everyone was like that person, would the world be different? And they always say yes, of course. And then I ask them, what two values would most change the world if everyone lived them? And when I ask the question, the responses are very different. Some people might say peace and respect, others compassion and honesty. But the answers vary so much. But each person is right. For when we live our values, we spark our humanity again. We spark the goodness within ourselves. We spark what is natural. We spark what's in our hearts. So this is one of the things I love about living values education. It enables people to take in so much strength from their own values that they are easily able to share that with others. And so, living values education, how can we help parents and children at this time? One of the first things is to think about your values. And today we're starting on peace. It's no accident to start on peace. And the reason is in the Living Values Education books, and there's books for children 3 to 7, 8 to 14, and young adults. But in these books, all of them start with either lesson 1 or 2 of a peace unit, and that is about imagining a peaceful world. And long, long ago, prior to 25 years ago, when I was working as a school psychologist, before Living Values was invented, I used to do this with boys that were 10 and 11 and 12 years old and were tending toward gang activities. So when I would bring them into my little office and I'd have them sit around this round table and they'd look at me like, boy, do I not want to be here. And I would I'd lead them in this commentary, in this imagining exercise, and have them imagine how they wanted the world to be. Well, they got totally into it. And then I'd take out a great big piece of paper and put it on the table. And they'd draw what they wanted. And from that moment, they were open. It was as though the mind was open, the intellect was open, because they had come up with what they wanted. recently I was doing a podcast with a different organization, and the woman who was interviewing me was telling me that every time we did an interview, that she would go home and she'd try it with her family. And she said it was amazing what happened when they started a conversation about values. So she couldn't believe the effect on her teens. One of them was a little bit older, I think maybe 20, but they loved it. It's so rare that we talk about something meaningful. I don't know if any of you ever saw that hilarious song. It was a mother, and she made up a song of all the things she says during the day. And, are you ready? Get up. And at the end, she says, and why? Because I'm the mom. But she was going through all things that she said each day. And she said, we all say these things every day to our children. And so it was hilarious. But is that the case? And can we bring in other things to allow us to spark in the children their peace, their values, their qualities, to grow our kindness in the family? And so I think one of the things each family could do is, if they wish, is they could download that exercise. It's downloadable free from the Living Values website. All the values units are free of charge. And so they can download that. But, and then another thing that helps, I think, that would help the family very much is, if you wish, for the parents or the parent or the extended family to create a peace place in the home. You may want to pray, you may want to meditate, but there's many relaxation, focusing exercises and quietly being exercises for the children. Because teens are having such a hard time right now, a lot of activities, relaxation activities, have been added, dealing with anxiety, dealing with their pain, as well as filling up with love, filling up with peace, filling up with self-respect. And in these times, children need that. Anxiety has increased so much. Depression has increased so much. Suicide. And so this ability to self-regulate, to calm themselves down, and then to have something meaningful to do or to think about is wonderful. So I'll go into that a little bit later. But if I may, I would like to share my screen because Joanna, if you can allow me to share my screen, I will share it. But as I'm just speaking, okay.
I'm on my phone. I have to do this on my phone.
Okay.
Hold on, let me just see. Yes, here we
go. Those in the audience, I think, know the slide that I'm going to show, so it's okay. But the slide is a slide of the Living Values Education Theoretical Model. And in the top half, you could have the parents' values, like what 3 values would you like to hold in your mind, your intellect, your heart, when you're interacting with your children? What space would you like to be in? And so that's the very top part. And then there's a circle, and there's a big B in the middle. And so the thought is, whatever is the positive behavior or the negative behavior.
Diane, you are co-host now, so you can show the...
Okay, great. Thank you, Joanne. Can you all see that? Okay. So what two values would most change the world? We looked at that a little bit. And so in this, what we're looking at is, what three personal values would you like to have? What kind of culture would you like to create in your home? And so these words may be very different. But this, this model with this B for positive behaviors and negative behaviors, there is an assumption, a hypothesis from Living Values Education. And that is, when we treat children, young people, teenagers, and isn't it true of even each other, in such a way that they feel loved, respected, valued, understood, and safe, that they move towards their potential. And so in Living Values Education workshops, or when you're doing different things as you self-study about Living Values Education, because now there's a self-study unit for grown-ups. Think about, or think now about, what positive things are you already doing? Because I know you're doing many. And then the rest of the model is to look at, are there some negative things? And there may be negative things in the environment. For example, one of them could be isolation at home because of lockdown, because of that pandemic. Maybe we can't control that, but we can control other things. Poor nutrition could change into good nutrition. Is the young adult addicted to the phone and to social media? Can that change? So what we do is that this model, this LVE theoretical model, can be used to analyze what's happening in a school, what's happening in a society, what's happening in a country, what's happening at home, even what's happening in a child's life. And so when, again, the hypothesis, whatever is the behavior, be it positive or negative, do we treat people in such a way, especially children, that they feel inadequate, hurt, fearful, shamed, or unsafe? And when we do this, they don't move toward their potential. This motivation and control through fear, shame, and punishment often sets up reactions of discouragement, hopelessness, perhaps depression, or the young person can swing the other way and go into resentment and anger and retaliation. And there can be power struggles against the parents and, of course, revenge. And so these things are possible to change. We may not be able to change the pandemic, but we can create this wherever we are. We can create it at home. We can create it in our relationships with our wider circles. We can create it in our communities. I feel that in my life, I'm so lucky because I have these beautiful circles around me of positive people, of people that love the values. And it's so beautiful. And over time, I'm seeing more and more of these circles grow around the world. And I think hope is important now. And it's really as simple as, when we have affirm that a value is important to us and we choose to live it, we can change everything. So, living values education, as Margaret Mead said, it is only education that has ever changed the world and will ever change the world. So, let's look at some of the factors that parents may be concerned about. I know that a simple one may be fighting among siblings. So, do some of the lessons in the Peace Unit on conflict resolution. Learn how to be a facilitator of a win-win situation where you're giving love and respect to both children, not taking sides unless one is really being taken advantage of, and teach them the process for communication. Maybe you put up the very simple rules on a wall, and soon they'll be communicating with themselves. There's simple questions. What don't you like? How do you feel? What do you want them to do instead? No blame. Just what do you want them to do instead? And each one repeats what the other says. And that gift of respect makes a difference. Such a difference. And what if you were to include gratitude circles every evening before they went to bed and a little bit of peacetime? Would there be a difference? Would there be more love? And that beautiful pot, as Virginia Satir used to say, the beautiful pot is your pot of love full. And there is, I think, a real concern that most parents have is some addiction to phone time and social media. And actually, this is quite a serious problem. Some young people are getting addicted to their phones. So is your child addicted? Is the child becoming grumpy when you ask them to get off the phone? Are they sleeping less and being on the phone and social media more, or on the computer in front of a screen? Are they willing to enjoy family time and go out for a walk in nature? Do they like to play with their siblings? Do they like to relate to you? Are they willing and happy to do chores in a cooperative way? If you are answering no to these questions, and they are spending many, many hours a day, they may be addicted. There's actually programs to help young people break addictions, because some of them literally don't want to do their school anymore, their schoolwork anymore. Some of them don't want to go to university anymore. Some of them can't really concentrate on anything else. And what I notice and what I feel is that the phone itself, with all the social media, it's addicted many parents, so that some parents aren't looking so much at the faces and the eyes of their children anymore and giving love. They're not having time with their children in a sustained manner. I actually had a young adult, about 24, 25. He came home from Morocco, where he was in the Peace Corps. And I was talking to him one evening when he was here, and all of a sudden he looked at me and he said, you know, this is the first sustained 20-minute conversation I've had since I've been back to the USA. I said, really? And he says, yes, everybody's always responding to the beeps on their phone. Nobody's listening anymore. No one's talking to me in ways I wish I miss being in Morocco. He was a delightful young man. Are we willing to turn off our phone for a couple of hours a day? Can we have family time again? Can the parents and the kids turn off their screens for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and have family time? At least 2 hours a night, and maybe longer on the weekend if you can't do it every night. But family time. Parents are stressed. There's way too much to do. But it's the feeling of love. It's the relationship of love. It's that which creates cooperation. When there is love, there is cooperation. Yes, have family time. Spend time with each child. And if you have many children, each one could have individual time. You have an older child with a younger child. So some of them always get some us time and me time with each parent. And you pair off and you have maybe a half an hour of us time where each one gets to be listened to fully and enjoyed and gets to be able to play whatever they want. Or you have family time where you play board games together or go on a hike or do whatever is, dance together, sing together, enjoy together. But some sustained time doing that. And then maybe dinner time, maybe everyone helps. Maybe the teenagers take some responsibility. Maybe they help with the laundry, whatever it is, whatever is needed. Children benefit by responsibility. Young people benefit so much by learning age-appropriate skills. It builds confidence. It builds self-respect. Just as a parent listening to a child builds so much self-esteem. It's really, really important to listen, to give age-appropriate responsibilities, and to have this us time, this family time. Maybe once a week you watch a movie, and then you discuss it. Maybe it's an action movie and there's some actions that you may not like. Maybe it's something the young people really want to hear. And so can you discuss it afterwards so that they can really look at what's happening, but do it in a non-judgmental way, really discuss. You could pick a value, take a value and have them each think of a definition of a value or think of times during the day when they used it or saw someone else in the family or on the street or at school use it, one of their friends. So there's so many ways to enjoy values time. Children need hope. Some of them are discouraged about the pandemic and shut down and missing their friends, but they need hope. So this family time, you creating that peace for yourself, perhaps in the morning, and the whole family in choosing perhaps a value to focus on. I would encourage peace first because of the imagining a peaceful world and the conflict resolution. But then choose as a family, excuse me, whatever value they like. Excuse me. Young people right now, many of them are also very concerned about the climate change issue, the crisis that we have. In the new Living Values updated books, the ones that say book 1 at the end of the title, and you'll see it in the free unit is available on the website under Simplicity and Caring for the Earth and our Oceans. But there's so many things of value in that unit. First, simplicity. If they're older, are they buying into the advertisements? Do they believe that they are only valuable if they have this possession? Enjoy nature, take walks, write a poem to a tree. But taking walks, getting out in nature, if you possibly can. Even at night, you can look at the stars. You can plant flowers or maybe have a little organic garden. But in the units, for little children, there's stories about caring for the earth. If we have time, I'll find one of the stories for you. So in one of the stories about caring for the earth, there's David and Rosa, and they go to the store for their mom and their little kids, but there's a store just around the corner. And they meet some birds and they help a little bird. And then when they're going to the store, they see all these birds of different kinds on the tree. And when they're on their way back from the store, a little tern says, we've all decided to come and talk to you because the animals in the earth need your help. The earth, Rosa and David said together. The animals are getting sick, nodded the blue heron, and the earth. The little tern told the earth that you were loving little humans, ones with good hearts. So she agreed that we could talk to you. Wow, said David. How can we help, said Rosa. All the birds started talking at once. Such a jabber you have never heard. They were so excited to be asked that they all started talking in their own languages. The squawks, chirps, shrills, and quacks were quite loud. Shh, said the blue heron in his deep voice. You'll attract attention. All the birds instantly stopped. You tell them, little tern, said the blue heron, nodding encouragingly. Okay, said the little tern with a little chirp. Our earth and our animals are getting sick because the humans have forgotten about love and respect for each other and us and the earth. Maybe it'll be easier if I tell you in a poem. Be friends with each other, be loving and sweet, to girls and boys and all you meet. Be friends to the birds, the cats and the dogs, the horses, the geese, the goats and the frogs. Pick up your trash. Don't pollute the water. Don't waste things, please. Don't poison the ground, the water, the sky, or the trees. Pick up your trash. Be a friend to each other, all countries and groups. Love and respect as animals and the earth too. Recycle, don't waste. Pick up your trash. Humans are powerful and smart, but learn to be kind. Then we'll all live safely and have a wonderful, glorious time. The colors of the earth will sparkle, the meadows and flowers will bloom. We birds will sing happily then and not be in a state of gloom. So the ones for 3 to 7-year-olds are stories and little things they can do. In the middle one, there's another much more mature story where they actually learn about systems thinking and how one value can affect so many things. For the older ones, it's actually an explanation about what's happening in the world with our oceans, with 405 dead zones, and the major problems in terms of the emissions and how the greenhouse gases work. And then they make a list of all the things they can do. And so there's some information drawn from UN suggestions. There's things for the Sustainable Development Goals, but there's many, many things they can do, and a real encouragement of projects so that they know they can be part of helping with the climate crisis. And I think this is important. It's actually said if everybody on the earth did one particular diet change that we could, I didn't put this in the book because I only heard it, but it said we could actually change what's happening with the climate crisis within 2 or 3 years, which is really quite incredible. And so, my friends, there's so many things we can do. And I'm actually going to stop now